Wasting time, let's get into understanding a little bit more of a timeline, how fast you should be learning some of these topics. I view the time wasting thing as bad as wasting money, just because if I want to learn something, I want it to happen quickly. This is based off of what we see when people come into the course and how quickly we are turning them around. That doesn't mean that we're the only ones that can do it, but this is how the timeline goes. If you are in that sort of pentatonic, right, blah, 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 up and down solos, to go from that point, I don't really know what to do here. What do I do? Everything I'm playing is sounding boring. To just and moving some of these phrases up and down the guitar and creating interesting music. Starting to understand why you weren't and how to should not take much longer than 2 weeks. Just like anything else, with that information, if you're implementing your creativity, the more that you do that, the better you're going to be. From that point, and what we also see in the course is this idea of like, oh, Dorian. Yeah, I remember learning Dorian, I think. But I don't really know how to use it. The idea of going from up and down, boring, blah, blah, blah solos, 2 weeks, and now you're able to play, interesting lines, little tension, like resolve, neutral, tell a story with your solos, about 2 weeks with the pentatonic, all over the neck. Now from there, adding modes should not take much longer than that. To really dive deep and understand them, maybe a week per the 7 modes, but you already have a foundation of how the musical language works. So then just adding modes is just going to be adding more to that language. And I think that's where people get stuck. And it does sort of look like pentatonic, 5 positions of the pentatonic, right? Almost like 2 separate concepts, right? Then modes, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 modes, but it's all the musical language that builds off of each other. So this should be happening quickly. If you're putting in the work and you have those goals and you're efficiently moving towards it, and this does not take hours and hours of study and hours of application, and it is fun, like learning this stuff, it's making your guitar solos better. From that sort of week 1 to week 10, you should be able to pick any chord progression to be able to solo using any mode all over the fretboard, right? Understanding the modes, understanding the chord tones and how to create it, because just because you're learning modes doesn't mean you still want to just run up and down. You'll know, oh man, when I get to that 4 chord in Dorian, I'm going to hit that 6 because that's the 3 of the 4 chord. Those ideas. That should be about 10 weeks, right? Probably can happen a little faster. It shouldn't take much longer than that. If you are an intermediate guitar player stuck in that sort of blah, 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 pentatonic, boring solo plateau that we all get into, and you want to break out and bridge the gap between your creative ideas and what you were able to play, becoming fully fretboard fluent, comment pro below, and we can get started.